we have some serious decisions to make. It seems to me that we can either decide to restrict what we eat and not eat what the food industry is offering to us, or we can use medications.
Yeah, I agree.
So, what are you going to do? Welcome to the Dust or Mud Podcast, episode 31.
Episode 31. Today is Monday Q&A day, and we're going to answer a question, or at least attempt to answer a question that comes from a really loyal subscriber.
Yeah, so she asked, does Ozempic work the same as the keto diet? In that, do they do the same things in our body?
Yeah, and there was another question similar when you said that you were free from some food cravings and hunger.
Liberated.
Mm-hmm. Was the word you used, from food cravings and hunger. The question came because we didn't specifically mention anything
because it was in a short
about keto.
Mm-hmm.
The question came, are you on Ozempic?
Right. The answer is no, I'm not on Ozempic, but we do eat a low-carb ketogenic diet.
Right. But having the multiple questions made us decide to choose this one as a topic of discussion.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Ozempic. What is Ozempic? And then keto. What is keto? Briefly. And then let's compare them.
Okay. Ozempic. Semaglutide is the name of the actual drug, or the drug. The brand name is Ozempic. And Ozempic is specifically an FDA-approved drug for the treatment of type 2 diabetes.
Right. The functions of the drug, it is a GLP-1 mimicking hormone.
It mimics the hormone.
It mimics the hormone GLP-1.
Yep.
Okay. And it works on your brain.
Amongst others, yes.
Okay. And in your brain, your hypothalamus, it helps the messaging within your brain to help you not be hungry.
That's correct.
Okay. So not only does it work on your brain, it also works on your digestive system. It causes your digestive system to slow down, your stomach to hold the food in it longer, and thus you feel full longer because you are full longer. Because the food is in there. So it slows down your digestive system.
Yes.
So that you don't feel hungry quite as soon.
Correct.
No matter what you put in there.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. What else does it do?
Those are the two main things as far as the GLP-1 is concerned. It also affects your blood glucose.
Mm-hmm.
It turns down glucagon, so it makes your body slow down its own production of glucose, and it causes the pancreas to increase its insulin production.
So, and then that would help to keep your blood sugar down artificially. No, artificially, naturally, because you're not putting insulin in.
So it's the message is coming artificially, but your body is naturally, like the message says, produce less glucagon, produce less glucose, and produce more insulin. Okay. So your body is actually doing that. The drug isn't doing it. The drug is telling your body what to do, and then your body does those things.
Another thing that it does is it affects your liver. It will tell your liver not to produce glucose, because it will, in the event that your body needs glucose, your liver will make it.
That's right.
And it will tell your liver, don't make it. We're good.
Slow it down.
It will slow it down.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a it's a drug that affects messaging.
Yeah. I think it's important to say from the beginning, though, Ozempic is a type 2 diabetes treatment drug as far as the FDA is concerned. The drug Wegovy, the brand name Wegovy, is the semaglutide that is FDA approved for weight loss.
And that has to do with the dosage amount of the semaglutide that's in the medication is different for a type 2 diabetic to control their blood sugar, their A1C, getting it down and managing that versus weight loss with obesity.
That's correct.
Okay.
The net result is the same. It's the same active ingredient.
So it's the same pathway changes.
Yeah, the dosage is different
Okay.
slightly,
Mm-hmm.
and the approval is different.
So the people who are using it for weight loss purposes, if it's Ozempic, it would be considered off-label.
If it's specifically and only for weight loss, Ozempic would be off-label, an off-label prescription.
But the same drug, and it works the same.
The same drug.
Just those are semantics, I think, within the FDA at this point.
It has a lot to do with insurance.
Oh,
So
okay.
because type 2 diabetes is something that your insurance company will cover,
Right.
Ozempic is often covered,
Mm-hmm.
where weight loss is not necessarily always covered, depending on the insurance company.
Uh-huh. And if there's a comorbidity to go with it, and also type issues such as high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, heart failure, things like that, if there's something to go with it, then they will treat it. Generally?
For Wegovy, it has to do, as far as FDA approval is concerned, it has to do with your body mass index
Mm-hmm.
and comorbidities.
Okay. Right.
So if your body mass index is between 27 and 30,
Mm-hmm.
then you can have it prescribed to you as far as the FDA is concerned if you have comorbidities like the ones you mentioned.
Okay.
If your body mass index is above 30, which
Mm-hmm.
puts you in the category of obese,
Mm-hmm.
at that point you don't have to have any comorbidities.
Okay. All right. So our insurances, and mainly the baseline insurance out there that most things go by would be Medicare.
Correct. And as of right now, Medicare doesn't cover it for weight loss purposes.
Only,
Some
right.
states' Medicaid will
Mhm.
cover it
Okay.
for weight loss.
Okay. So I think that covers how it works. Basically.
Yep.
Okay. So let's talk about keto.
Well, let's also mention with it does work.
Oh, it absolutely works. It does make you feel fuller. It does control your blood sugar. It's a great drug for type 2 diabetes. It does get your A1C under control, and it needs to be.
And in the fact that it does work for weight loss,
Right.
it is also reducing the instances of all of those comorbidities
Sure.
that you discussed.
So it is a drug that is a good thing.
So
That helps.
Right. With Wegovy specifically, I don't know why I can't remember that word. Wegovy.
You haven't heard enough commercials.
I guess. With Wegovy specifically, it was approved in 2021, and that was the first weight loss drug approved since 2014.
Oh, wow.
So it
That's
had been
significant.
a long time
Uh-huh.
since the FDA had approved a drug for weight loss.
Okay.
And it does work. There are side effects. Most of
Usually.
them have to do with gastrointestinal discomfort things, nausea, right?
Diarrhea, vomiting, things
So
like
there
that.
there are side effects, but from a weight loss perspective, I think it's important to say it does work.
Yes, it
Now,
does.
as we transition to keto, it's important to say it does
work. Mhm.
right?
Right. Okay, so let's transition to keto.
Okay.
Let's do a brief what it is, what it does. It is a way of eating
Yes.
that is outside what we normally eat as a standard American.
Yes.
It is a high fat, 70% fat, moderate protein, no carbohydrate, under 20 carbohydrates a day if you're on a strict ketogenic diet.
Yep. The carb number of carbs sort of varies. Some things say 25,
Yep.
some say
Yep.
20, but yes, very low.
Low.
Very, very low carb.
Your body
Yeah.
will, over time, as it gets used to it and gets into nutritional ketosis, and your body begins to burn fat, the liver will produce ketones, and you will be operating underneath a different set of energy. simply put.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. It is a natural metabolic state.
Okay, natural
Your body
metabolic
will
state.
naturally enter a state of ketosis when the amount of glucose that you're taking in drops below a certain level. Your body doesn't have the glucose to run on anymore.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it enters a natural state in which it starts to convert fats into ketones.
Mm-hmm.
Like glucose,
Mm-hmm.
your body can use ketones for fuel.
Okay. So when that happens, your blood sugar levels go down
They do. That's correct.
over time.
Yep.
Your A1C, because that is a over a period of time, generally 3-month snapshot of what your blood sugar has been. So when you go on a ketogenic diet, your blood sugar and A1C both will come down.
Yeah.
Whenever you're also on a ketogenic diet, your hormones are affected.
Yes.
Ghrelin and leptin. They are both control hunger and your fullness. Am I full? Am I hungry?
Right.
So it also controls hunger within the hormone system.
Yeah, it's a different set of hormones, but you're absolutely right.
But the result is the same.
It decreases the I'm hungry hormone
Uh-huh.
and increases the I'm satisfied hormone.
Okay. So far, we're lowering our blood sugar.
Yes.
And we are creating I'm not hungry and I'm satisfied.
Yes.
Both.
Correct.
Okay. And weight loss.
Yes.
The ketogenic diet has had significant success at people with whom need to lose a lot of weight or not, and they do.
Yes.
Weight loss occurs.
That's right. Because as you transition away from the standard American diet where you're feeding your body all of the glucose it can handle plus more, the insulin that comes with that tells your body to store that excess glucose as fat. So every time you exceed what your body needs in glucose, your body immediately stores that as fat. On the ketogenic diet, as you transition into ketosis, it reverses that. So you don't have the glucose there. You're not eating the carbohydrates, so
Right.
you don't have that glucose there. So your body transitions to, I will use the fat, that stored energy.
Yeah.
I will use that now to produce ketones. So instead of storing glucose into fat, it uses the fat and produces ketones. So the way that it works is it actually burns the fat that is stored.
Right. Okay. So our results are really close to the same, whether we're using Ozempic or what's the other name? Wegovy. Not enough commercials.
Wegovy.
Wegovy. Whether or not we're using Wegovy or Ozempic or any of the other name brands out there for this particular drug, the results seem to be kind of happening. They're kind of the same.
Yeah.
Keto diet or let's just say Ozempic.
Okay.
We all know that one. Okay. I would really like to compare and contrast the two.
Okay. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that if my results are really close to the same,
Yep.
both have positives and negatives.
Right. That's true.
So the positives for Ozempic, let's just do the positives for Ozempic and then the positives for keto.
Okay.
The positives for Ozempic would include it's pretty fast.
Okay.
It works. You know it's going to work because you inject it. Like, you know it's going to work. It is, it's controllable.
Yep.
It is effective, very effective.
That's the same as it works.
Okay, sure. I should have just said it. Okay. It's effective.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another positive for it.
You can continue to eat the same things you were eating.
But you just might not want to eat as much because you feel full and satisfied.
That's correct.
But the
So
substances could be the same.
It does not require you to restrict
Or change your lifestyle.
or change your lifestyle. You
will.
will eat less,
Right.
Because you're literally are full
Right.
longer.
But you don't have to cut anything like sugars or anything like that.
Correct.
You can kind of go about your normal eating.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to reduce it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Positives of keto. Well, you get to eat bacon.
Yes.
Lots of it. Well, to me, you got to eat.
Yeah.
And it is a natural way of changing what's happening in your body.
It is. Yep.
So that's a positive.
Yep. It's natural. Yeah.
Uh-huh. It is free.
Yes, because you're buying food anyway. If you consider that you're going to eat.
The cost analysis, the cost comparison is it would be free because you're already going to spend money on food.
That's correct. Yep.
Because you have to eat. Okay. It's effective.
It is. It's absolutely effective.
It also works on the brain.
It does.
It feeds ketones to the brain, which
That's
is
correct.
a great energy source for the brain.
That's correct. Now, with Ozempic, you're not burning ketones.
Right.
So you do not get that increased mental clarity, like all of those things that people talk about with the ketogenic diet.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting that with semaglutide.
Okay.
So it is because it's not ketones.
Right.
All of those mental things that people talk about with being in ketosis comes from your brain operating off of ketones as its energy source.
Okay.
So that's one that would be specific to being in ketosis or the keto diet.
Okay. Okay, so those are all very good positives. There's negative sides to both of them too.
Yeah, that's true.
The negative side, Ozempic's expensive.
Yeah. Ozempic, just from a little bit of research that I did, Ozempic, if you're not covered by insurance, Ozempic, the doses are somewhere around $1,000 a month, so about $250 a dose. And then the Wegovy is more than that. It is $1,500.
Okay.
I wrote it down here. Sorry, about $1,600, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
16, yeah. So for the Wegovy, it's about $16,000 a year.
Okay.
Where the
and
Ozempic
maybe your insurance covers it, and that's and that's cool too.
Ozempic is about $12,000 a year.
Yeah. Okay.
If your insurance covers it, it can come down to somewhere around $25.
Oh,
per dose.
Wow, that's not bad.
If it's covered.
Right. Okay.
But you're right. That's expensive.
That's expensive. Yeah. When eating keto is relatively free.
Yes.
So cost comparison,
Right.
keto wins on that one. Although they've both been effective at this point, you just kind of got to get into that. Well, negative side to keto is it's really can be socially awkward.
Well, there's more negatives to the semaglutide. And we mentioned one of them is the side effects.
Okay.
So you have to increase the doses very slowly. You start by taking a very small dose, less than a quarter of what the normal dose is, and you take that for about 4 weeks, and then you slowly ramp up the dose. Most people start experiencing the gastrointestinal issues we discussed when they start taking it, and then with each dosage increase, anywhere from a few days to a few weeks, people are having the issues.
Oh, okay.
So that to me would be another negative. So, some people never get over it, and you can, with a little bit of research, you can find a lot of really famous Hollywood types that have had negative issues
Okay.
with Ozempic or Wegovy,
Uh-huh.
and saying that they never could stop being sick.
Mm, got it. Well, yeah, that would be kind of that'd be a downside for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Digestive issues.
Some people, it is an injection.
Mm-hmm.
That is a
Yeah.
negative to some folks. I know, like
Mm-hmm.
a weekly injection, you injecting yourself every week
Yeah. With one of
is,
those pins
yeah, an auto injector is definitely a downside for some
for
people.
some people. Yeah.
It is a drug, so anytime you're artificially telling your body to do something, you run risks there. There are again
It could break.
there are
Like
re-
it could break it, I guess.
there
It
are
could.
reports
Mm-hmm.
of people continuing to lose weight even after going off of the
Right.
drug, which is not normal. We can talk about that later, but
Yeah.
um, that their body, like all of those signals, are
Mm-hmm.
now just sort of broken.
It didn't turn
So
back on.
yeah, and
Mm.
look, I
Oh,
there are reports of that out there.
yes. I don't know. Uh, okay. Any other ones that you've come
That's
across?
all that I can think of right
Mm.
now.
Well, keto downsides. I mean, you could get the keto flu and not feel good too. Just
Yeah,
like, I mean, if it was Ozempic, you're getting kind of the gastro situation. When you first start keto flu will make you feel like yuck.
yep, it'll
So
make you
there's
feel like
down.
yuck for a few days,
Mm-hmm.
and typically it has to do with an electrolyte imbalance that happens as your
Right.
body, when you
Dumps.
stop
Mm-hmm.
ingesting carbohydrates, your body dumps a whole lot of water because the water is not required anymore. Your body
Mm-hmm.
needs a lot of water to digest the carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
So when you stop ingesting the carbs, your body dumps a lot of water. And with that water dump, outgo a lot of the electrolytes.
Sure.
And so you get an electrolyte imbalance. And it can lead to just a general malaise, I think is typically how it's
Yeah,
referred
you're
to.
right.
You just,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you have a stuffy nose. It's just you sort of feel bad,
Yeah.
like that's why they call it the flu. Is
Yeah.
it's just a general feeling of, ugh, I don't feel great.
Mm-hmm.
And that typically, if it happens for a couple of days.
And when you go to a ketogenic diet, you're eating a lot more fats, and that can often cause you to have a little digestive discomfort too, because
Yeah.
your digestive system isn't used to all of that fat.
That's true.
But typically, it does go away that goes away pretty quickly.
That's correct. Yep. I think the biggest downside to keto that, at least for me, and you can chime in, but for me, the biggest downside is the social side of things.
Yes.
And I mean, they refer to it as social awkwardness. I don't know that it's
Well, it's
an
not awkward.
awkwardness. It's
almost
just
like a
the social side of things
Yeah.
where you can't partake in the things that other people are partaking in.
Right.
So when it's time for birthday cake, you say no thank you. When somebody brings donuts to the office, you say no thank you. When, like, all of these things, when people, it's time to go out for a sandwich, you say no thank you. Like, there are so many times in social settings, and food is so important
in our culture.
that so many social things are built around food.
Yep.
That when you're doing something that is radically different,
You're a food outcast.
yeah, you're out there,
Yeah.
on the social side of things. And that's probably, of all of the research as to why people stop doing keto, that's probably the biggest one.
Really.
Is just how awkward it makes people feel in the social settings.
Right. You want a donut? You want a donut? You want a donut? No, I don't want a donut. It's hard to say that every single week.
Yeah.
No, I don't want a donut. Thank you. I don't want a donut. And they won't relent. So who does?
Yeah.
Generally, the person that doesn't want to eat the donut is like, okay, fine, I'll eat the donut.
Right.
And then it's just, never mind.
Then you become normal again.
Right.
So you are abnormal. And that's just, abnormal isn't a place that feels good.
No, it's not. You're right. However, sometimes you just have to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just as we're discussing the negatives,
Yeah.
right? That the negatives of keto. For me, that was the biggest. How about you?
The same.
Okay.
Same. Because I don't care what I eat half the time. You know, like I'll eat the simplest thing that there is, the easiest, you know, the path of least resistance on whatever meal that it is. But there's so many times when you're at a thing or you're going to someone's house or you don't go to somebody's house because now we eat different.
Yeah.
And so that has been one of the hardest things, but it's been 5 years and people around us have just gotten used to it.
Yeah.
Our friends and family just now know,
Yeah.
you know, that we're not going to eat that.
Yeah.
And it's
true.
all okay now.
Yeah.
Um,
There are some medical issues, like actual medical diagnoses that don't work well with keto, and
Sure.
you know, see a doctor if you're under the doctor's care
Mm.
for other things. It might be
Right.
beneficial
Now,
to
we were talking about like Hashimoto's. People
right.
with that don't do well on keto. It
Right. So
doesn't work.
if you have
Yeah.
any of those types of
Sure.
of issues,
Thyroid
then
issues.
I think it would be important to talk to a doctor before starting it. So that would be a potential negative to a ketogenic diet as well, is
that it doesn't work for
it doesn't
everyone.
work for everyone in
Mm.
all circumstances, which I don't know
What does?
anything that does, but
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about nutrient deficiencies. Keto, you can run low on, well, you were talking about electrolytes.
yeah. Yeah, that's I think of the things that to run low on for us, it was just sodium, you know, what magnesium, potassium, the
Yeah.
electrolytes,
Yeah.
because you're probably not eating as many processed foods,
Yeah.
and the highly processed foods have a lot of that stuff added in.
Sure.
And if you're just going to the store and buying, you know, cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli,
Mhm.
you know, like that stuff isn't added in.
Right.
Now, some of it has more naturally occurring than others,
hmm
but I think that would be the biggest, like if we saw a deficiency for
Okay.
us.
What about any nutritional deficiencies if you're on one of the drugs like Ozempic? Is would there be anything there? I think because you're still just eating and taking your normal vitamins. It's just a volume thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen any issues with
Okay.
that.
Well, what about sustainability? Because a lot of people say with keto, it's just not sustainable. Well, that's because of back to the social aspect would be a key problem.
Yeah, I think if you combine the social aspect with the sort of the lack of processed foods or
Mhm.
prepackaged foods,
You got to cook.
you got to cook,
Right.
and people get tired of it.
Right.
Um, and that leads back to last week's episode where we were talking about you end up in a dirty keto
Oh, right.
type of mindset or
Right.
a highly processed food keto type of mindset,
Right.
and then it might
And then
stop
keto
working
stops
or
working.
not
Right.
work as well.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're interested in what could be happening with keto these days, check the last episode, and that's where we discussed a lot of those issues.
Yeah. Similarly, with semaglutide, as soon as you stop taking it, studies show the weight comes back.
So stop taking it how long do you have to take it for it to be effective? Like what is the length of the thing?
I would say, since we're comparing and contrasting with keto, the same. It's the same. You just keep doing it.
Oh, so you just have to keep taking the $1,000 a month drug for as long as you want the weight loss to be gone? Unless
$1,600 a month.
Okay, so
Yeah.
$1,600 a month, like forever,
Correct.
or change the way that you eat
Correct.
simultaneously, maybe,
So they
so that you don't gain the weight back. Some change will have to be made.
some change will have to be made. So in the studies,
Uh-huh.
the majority of the weight came back.
When they went off of it.
So when you're
Went back to their normal
when you're
lives.
taking the drug,
Yep.
all of those things that we talked about that the drug does happen.
Right.
When you stop taking the drug, all of those things that the drug does stop happening. And so your stomach now works properly and it empties
Quickly, and then
when
you
it's
feel-
supposed
right.
to. You start to feel hungry. you don't produce as much insulin. You start producing more glucose. I mean, like all of the things that it's telling your body to change
Now go back to working
now go back
properly.
to working properly. Your body just starts operating normally. And when your body starts operating normally, if you have not changed something else, like if you haven't changed what you eat, how much you exercise, like if there's not
Any other
some
change
if there's not some other change
within your mindset about food, honestly.
yeah, potentially, but
Okay.
but like we talked about, one of the advantages of this is that there really doesn't have to be any other change.
Right.
Well, if there's no other change, as soon as you stop taking it,
Okay.
that advantage goes away.
Okay.
And the thing that caused you to be overweight before the drug will cause you to be overweight after the drug.
Same works with keto.
Same exact thing works with keto.
If you stop eating a low carbohydrate, no processed food, high fat, moderate protein, real food type diet, the benefits are going to go away.
That's correct.
Okay, but sustainability, how long do I want to like poke myself? Like for the rest of my life? Yeah. For me? No. Not if I don't have to. There's some people I happen to know that have to poke themselves often, and that's not fun to do.
Yeah.
For me. Maybe for some people it's so worth it.
If you're using it strictly and solely for weight loss, I would say the drug, and I would guess you're probably going to get tired of it. Yeah.
And financially, you're going to get tired of it. I would think that's a lot.
Potentially, depending on your situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people it just doesn't matter.
Well, a lot of the press around it is wrapped around the Hollywood folks or the really famous people that are using it.
And they don't have money.
For them, I don't think
money's not a
that
thing.
Money is that big of an issue.
Right.
For those with type 2 diabetes, it is an effective treatment.
Yes.
80% of people with type 2 diabetes are obese. And so it
would be twofold then. With controlling.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That's where I was going. With Ozempic specifically, that is for diabetics.
Right.
Then with it does help do all of the things with the blood sugars and insulins, which the diabetics need.
Yeah.
And it causes weight loss.
Thereby affecting
all of the other things, the cardiovascular disease, stroke, like all of the things that are associated with obesity and overweight. All of that gets better also. So the people who are prescribed this medication for diabetes specifically, I don't know. Now, we've talked about in the past places like Virta Health. They're able to use a ketogenic diet to treat type 2 diabetes.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that Ozempic is the only thing that can be used to treat type 2 diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes can be controlled through diet.
Yes.
Diet controlled diabetics.
Yes, that's right.
It's a thing.
It is not popular.
No, because it takes restriction.
Correct. Which the keto diet takes.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah. The decisions come, though, because we are either going to have to restrict or medicate. And I only say that because statistically, about 80% of Americans?
70% of Americans are either overweight or obese, with 40% of Americans being obese.
70. Sorry, I was 10% off. 70% of Americans.
That's according to the FDA.
According to the FDA, are overweight or obese.
That's correct.
If that's the case, then we have to make a decision. We either restrict and stop eating the industrialized packaged foods or we medicate. That's it. The results are out there. It's so obvious at this point. You're going to have to make a choice.
Because of all of the associated health issues that go along with overweight and
Exactly.
obesity. Yeah.
Because with obesity comes, or overweight comes, type 2 diabetes.
Metabolic dysfunction, right.
All of the things. Without,
Yeah.
they come with it.
Yeah.
I don't care what size the pants are. The fact is, with that being overweight, it comes with all this laundry list of other things, which is making us sick and killing us.
Yeah.
So if we don't want to be sick and we don't want it to kill us, that's when the decision comes in.
Yeah. And I think that's why everyone was so excited when Wegovy was approved as a weight loss drug.
So, right.
So excited, so much, in fact, that wouldn't take you long. Look, a lot of people can't get it. Like, even if you can get it prescribed, it's gone. Like, it doesn't exist. They can't make enough.
There's a shortage.
And that's where some doctors off-label prescribe Ozempic for weight loss.
But did I read that that's affecting the people who need it with their type 2 diabetes are having a hard time getting it because it's being used so almost ubiquitously at this point for off-label weight loss?
I have read, I've done research and have read that, yes,
that's
some
it has.
Some articles say that type 2 diabetics are not able to get Ozempic because people can't get Wegovy, so are using Ozempic off-label.
I see. Okay. Well, it's effective and it works, and I get it. I really, really do. But at the same time, it's to me, food restriction, though difficult, is the more healthful way to go about maintaining a healthy composition. To me, it's more sustainable. It's not going to break the bank, and it's not going to break my body.
I prefer the natural state, a natural metabolic state.
So that's the difference.
There we go.
That's the difference. That's what Ozempic does, and that's what keto does, and those are the pros and cons, and you choose you.
It's really interesting, though, as we were looking at this, how similar they are.
They're very similar
in the results, even in the types of things that they're affecting.
Right.
Slightly different, but both hormones. Both you end up with lower blood sugar.
Right.
So it's absolutely understandable why that question would be out there.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about each of them separately, you start hearing the same types of words. The same types of things happening.
So it seems to me, though, you could use the positive on Ozempic. You could use Ozempic as a launching pad. If it didn't affect you negatively, you could use it as a launching pad to curb, because we all have so many cravings and whatnot. You could curb your appetite, curb your cravings, slow it all down, lose some weight, basically like launch you out there. And then maybe during that period of time, transition and get away from the processed foods, get away from the high carbohydrate things that we eat, start cooking so that you're not overwhelmed by, one, I'm hungry and I have to cook. Maybe I could take my hunger while I'm learning how to cook. Maybe I could use one while I change the other. I mean, that to me would be like, and then go off of it. But when you go off of it, you've changed your way of eating and your mindset about food with some assistance without being overwhelmed. It would take the overwhelm off if you were using that as a, hey, I just need to not be so hungry so I can make these changes.
Hmm.
That seems like it would be the best fit to use it as a tool. As a tool.
So what you're saying is, if you're going to use the drug,
Yeah.
use it as a tool to assist you in a lifestyle change,
Yes.
not as an ongoing.
Right. Like Nicorette helps people quit smoking.
Got it. But that, right. Yeah. Got it.
You would use that as just as a tool for a short period of time. It may be a year, it may be 2 years, I don't know. But so that it wasn't a lifetime. But it gives you time to change your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Without losing your mind.
Yeah.
And I think it would give you more opportunity for success in the lifestyle change.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the research, as it talks about the use of this drug for weight loss, it talks about the need for change in lifestyle, the need for a support group. Like
Right.
They do talk about that.
Right. It should accompany.
Yeah. Should accompany it.
Right.
But like from a purely scientific perspective, if
Right.
nothing else changes when you stop taking the drug, the
Right.
weight comes back.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think that covers it now. Well, thank you for watching and for listening to this podcast. We really, really appreciate you guys' support. The channel's growing. We're getting views way more than we ever dreamed, and it's super exciting. And if you're really liking these, it would be awesome if you would share it with your people on your social media. Text it to your mom. I text it to my mom.
That's right.
And subscribe to this channel, and we'll continue to bring you, fun topics like this one.
Cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And until next time, bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.